They laughing at the. Listen, this is how podcast goes. Y'all have
This
to
is
understand.
this is,
This
and
is how
hey,
podcast goes.
we recording now, and I ain't taking that shit. So from the top, take two. Yeah, I said, what's happening? Greetings, and salutations, people. What's poppin'? It's your boy Heavy Mac, and welcome back to the authentic and the original Heavy Thoughts podcast. And I am so excited, so elated, so overjoyed to be doing this heavy-hearted series with my TikTok day one, Madam Prez, the one and the only Thick Back Nikki Jag. Welcome, Thick Back Nikki Jag. Hey, yo. See, now, not for nothing. I like the second one better.
I do too.
I like the second one better. Yeah, the first one was cool. I like the second one better.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. So for the first time, and from what I've been told prior to getting on this is going to be the first of many times. This is my first time recording a podcast live on TikTok. And I got to tell you, based on what they told me, this might be the move going forward, man.
I told you it was the move. I told you.
But okay, so how am I supposed to take the word about technology from a person that's not technology?
This isn't about technology.
What's it about?
It's about reach. It's about ease. It's about comfort. And somebody who is technologically not savvy telling you this is easy and the way you want to go, that may be something to consider.
Well, it is now. It is now.
Yeah.
And between
it feels nice though.
It does. Listen.
It feels nice.
If the video quality comes out looking like this,
it will come out exactly like this.
So exactly what I see.
Exactly what you see. Crisp, clear, sound, audio, everything will come out just like this.
I'm going to beef up your voice a little bit because, I like it beefy.
You like it beefy?
I like
Hello
it
there,
beefy.
big boy.
I like it beefy. There you go.
This spot over here is perfect for the two of us.
Just for the two of us.
You know my first childish.
All right, people. Again, this is the Heavy Thoughts podcast, the heavy-hearted series where we talk about things that are matters of the heart, be it things that you are passionate about, things that you're in question about, things that you're in flux about. And I thought, who to do this better with than the person I have very passionate and very in-depth and detailed conversations with, but Thick Nick Jack. She is literally my vocal journal, my weekly vocal journal. Once a week, we have deep dive conversations on everything. And it always leads to points and views and passions. And I thought, well, she's a TikTok goddess and I like to talk. If we can do this on the podcast, this would be great. So that's where the idea came from. I pitched it to her. She said she'd love it. She'd be down. She's going to teach me how to do all the bells and whistles and the this and the that and the whatever have yous. But for the most part, we're here to talk about matters of the heart, heavy-hearted series. And prior to us starting to record, I was telling Nick, I absolutely hate coming back to TikTok because for those who know, I will log on for about a week. And in that week, I will see things, I'll try to post, I'll try to be engaging, and then I get overwhelmed and then I'm out, deactivate the account. And every time I'm about to delete the account, I talk to Nick. She gives me the updates on everything that's going on and how everything's going or whatever have you. And then I just hear the passion in her ability to create. So this is also my ploy of trying to get her to embrace technology. So if I stay on TikTok long enough, Thick Nick Jack will have her own setup to have her own thing, to do her own thing, and then everybody can win. So salute to Thick Nick Jack. Yeah.
I see the dirty macking happen. I see the dirty macking happen. Correct. I think one of the things that I love about the app that it does do is when applied in the way that we want to apply it, it can be a very comfortable space
Hmm.
for people to come and talk. It gives people access
Right.
in the safest manner possible. It also has the easiest amount of flow to it. So if you're not technically savvy like me, you can still run it. I think it's important for them to know that these conversations once a week have been 3 years running.
Oh, yeah, that's
That
right.
once a week, we talk once a week
Yeah.
for the past 3 years. The past 3 years. And it started on Instagram. He called me through Instagram, and then we got the bat phones, and now we talk once a week. Um,
The bad
when I tell you
phones.
this is the collab people needed, this is the collab people needed. And we've done multiple podcasts. This is our fifth or sixth podcast that we've done
Right.
together.
This is the first podcast we've done under the new structure of everything. So if you look on the
Mhm.
podcast, if you look for everywhere you see podcasts, look for this symbol. This is my emblem, Heavy Thoughts. If you see this on wherever you look at podcasts, this is the authentic, this is the new one. And of course they'll tell you by the dates that this is the newer one. But that's where it is now. And I'm hoping, my hope, as long as our schedules allow it, I'm hoping we can make this a weekly thing. And if it gets popular enough, twice a week,
Mhm.
we just talk about things that people are heavy hearted about. And speaking of one of the things that we're talking about heavy hearted about, I'll revert back to our conversation prior to recording when we were
Yep.
talking about my level of disdain that I have for TikTok in general.
Mm. Yep.
I watch the beginnings of where I started and what I was recording and why I was recording, and I see that now, and it literally, I can't, I can't watch something that I have made that's older than 3 weeks, just because I don't like the mind frame of who I was when I was recording those things. So part of that process is also trying to get as many people as humanly possible to feel free to start unfollowing me, because that person that you followed maybe a year or 2 years ago, I'm not even nowhere close to that now.
Yeah, but I think what you're talking about is being used like a tool.
What do you
Madam
mean?
Prez is a tool. Mac is a tool. Everybody's a tool.
True, but
We just have to
how
know that.
how often do
I'm
you want to
sorry.
go back and look at what was? And because you
I
can look
do.
at
I
you,
do. Every now and then I do.
but
Every
you can
now
look
and
at
then I
what
have
was
to
and
do
still
it.
feel bad about the shit that you used to do, the way that you
But
used
I
to
don't care.
move.
Yeah, but okay. Let's be clear. How you were moving was not the worst way to move. Let's
True.
be clear.
It
Not the
wasn't the
worst way
most
to move.
disrespectful.
It wasn't the
Wasn't the
most
best,
disrespectful.
but it wasn't the worst.
No, but with constant evolution, you are a constantly evolving being, Mac. I'm a constantly evolving being. My thoughts, views, and opinions and actions. The mindset is what causes the behavior, which causes the outcome. So
Okay.
if my mindset is one way and it's evolved, of course I'm going to look back and say, "Oh my God, how could I have ever thought that?" Yet that was a better version of you than the one that was prior. It's okay to go back and look and see someone's evolution. I love it. Whenever I find a follower or I go to follow somebody, I always like to go back to the very beginning because the evolution is always there. And I love it. I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think the thing about for me with this social media, excuse me, is the application of how it was being used, if that makes sense. I like the fact that the purpose of the job was to evolve, and that's what it's done.
But that's what you that's your story of your beginning. That's your story of the evolution of Thick Nick to Madam Prez to Thick Nick Jack, is the authenticity of growing from a passion, just from a type of individual of whom you liked. You see what I'm saying? Yours wasn't
Mhm.
for the it wasn't for the glitz or glamour of it. It's just literally voicing, saying, this is what I like. And for the people who like me, or the people who like what I like, here's a safe space where that can exist. So your
Yeah, but that's
approach to everything wasn't selfish.
no, it wasn't selfish.
Okay.
Although it did benefit me, it wasn't selfish. Are you saying that you don't like the fact that how you were moving before was for a selfish purpose?
Yes. Because
Oh,
it's
okay, then that's different.
when you look at it's it's so far removed from where I'm at now. And
Yeah,
because it's so far removed, you kind of want to get your separation from things that remind you of the places that you were to get where you
yeah.
are.
I think that's a man thing because for me, I think it's a man thing. I think men move like that. I'm gonna tell you why women don't move like that. Me knowing I was this dope wouldn't have made me be this dope. Me understanding my voice was this dope wouldn't have had me use it in the right manner.
Not true. I
I had
told
to
you when
grow
we first
into it.
talked that you were this dope, and look what
Yeah,
happened.
you listen. You did,
So I
and I'm
told
sitting
you,
here telling you
and
proud of you.
you only went further from there.
Yeah, and right. That is to say that you're embarrassed about the selfishness that your actions were, and I'm embarrassed of the naivety of my actions. If that makes sense. And yet I want to look back on them because I think I like being proud of how far I've come. I think it's a necessity to look back to see because if you don't look back, you're doomed to repeat it. So I think there's a purpose in it. I
Mm,
think if as long as you've learned the lesson,
mm,
then moving forward, you won't repeat it again. See, now Mac is different. Now you're going through a different state of metamorphosis. I told you, even when you shed things that you're supposed to shed, you're going to go through a grieving process. I think that's what you're going through right now, as far as the creativity and what you're doing, because you're finding your mold.
Is
You're
that why
finding
I
it.
hate coming to TikTok? Because
Yes,
I'm grieving it. I'm
yes,
coming
you're
back to
grieving
the
it.
crime scene.
Yes, yes, yeah. There's a grieving process with any loss, whether it's a calculated loss or a not calculated loss.
Hmm.
If you have to calculate the loss, it's going to be you're going to grieve it. You're going to go through those stages of grief. It may not take forever because I was just going through that months ago. I'm like, I'm so down. What is going on? I was going through a metamorphosis. There were
Mm,
things that I didn't want to let go that I had to. There were things that I didn't even know were gone.
right.
There were things that I knew I had to let go. And no matter what loss you take, there's going to be a grieving process. It's still a loss,
Mm,
calculated or not.
okay.
So that's what it is. You've shed old Mac. New Mac is coming. You're grieving the loss of the old Mac,
Right.
even though the new Mac is a better version.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. And if everything that you say about this app and the capabilities of recording live and
Hmm.
doing things like this is a real
Okay.
thing,
I hate the
then
fact that we all like to try to act, and I'm not saying we all, but you know what I mean. The royal we.
mm,
The app is what we make it. The intake of it is what we make of it.
I'm
It's
saying for
solely in our
me,
control.
I've
Literally.
been trying to get this level of clarity and this level of video and all things with you by what did we try? We tried Zoom, didn't work.
Zoom,
It wasn't
WhatsApp,
clear. WhatsApp wasn't as clear.
we tried
Voices that's
Spotify,
we tried all of that, but
all of them.
I can literally control your voice on
Yes.
this. I and then the clarity of it all. If I knew it was like this, then I'd have made this a video to put on YouTube. I know for
Listen,
next week.
yes, you
I
know
know that for
now.
next week.
Listen, you'll know that for now. And the thing about it is that that's how you grow. You learn and you grow. Now
Okay.
that you see that the medium that you hate the most does the best at what you need it to do, then just use it for that. That's a whole big thing where social media ruined us. Listen, social media is what you make it.
I think people just like being miserable. So they just need something to blame. If you say social media ruined you, I ask how. Because no
Facts.
one forced you to use it.
No one forces you to use it. You need to get on here simply to let people know you're about to record your podcast and then keep it pushing. Then record your podcast and keep it pushing. It is what you make it. The Dob is the Dob because the Dob is what I made it. The Dob is what it is. I use it for what my purpose and intention is for.
Okay.
These things can be used for good. It can be used for bad.
Okay.
I choose to use it for good. Now, let's get on to a topic. Let's see what we got going
All
on.
right. So one of the first ones that I want to bring up was it came from some dude Akbar Ahid. He says that men truly don't love. They just want respect. Now you being your father's first son,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts on that?
I think men need to first understand about respect before they can say they deserve respect. It's almost an entitlement. Because what's the difference between respecting a man and respecting a woman? What's the difference?
I can tell you, but you ain't gonna like the answer.
Sure.
My version of respect, and ladies, please forgive me. Please forgive me. My version of respect when it comes to respecting my woman or having my woman respect me
Hmm.
is I respect her um her vision from what I can't see from myself.
Okay.
And um I respect uh the basis of who she is and how she compliments me.
Okay.
What I think a lot of women lack in the respect area today, and I say this with respect, a lot of women don't respect the man's bicep. They don't. You look confused.
No, I'm not looking confused. I know exactly what you're saying.
Hmm. Now it's not
The
from a
problem.
it's not from a place
No,
of
I get
trying
it.
to it's not from a place of trying to be physical. It's from the idea of there's a way of talking when you get to a certain age. It's prior to our previous conversation.
Hmm.
Um, I think everything starts with the man. This ain't no pandering to women. This ain't no trying to make women feel good. I think that if you have a shitty situation, at its core, it's the man's fault. Be it if the young boy wasn't raised by positive male role models, if his father it didn't lay down the blueprint or the foundation, the understanding of what it means to be a man. If you don't have those core values and you make it into your 30s and 35 or whatever have you, I don't think that you have the foundation or the basis to lead a woman for anything. Me personally. And because I feel that way, because I think that way, I think a lot of the situations that come up nowadays is made women kind of step into that quote unquote masculine role. And when they come across somebody that uh, can help them relax into their feminine energy and they don't know how, I think that all falls back on the leadership of, again, whatever masculine or whatever man that she had in her life to show the ins and outs, pros and cons, and the ways of how things move. For me personally,
Okay.
so the bicep idea is respect the power of the man, but only the man that was raised by men who showed him the foundations of what it means to be one.
I think men dismiss a lot of the traits that make men men are also found in women.
What do you mean?
Your first, your first teacher was your mother.
Not true.
Your most cases. I want you to remove the individuality out of it.
Okay.
Most cases, your first teacher is your mother. I can tell you if we're talking on an individual basis, everything you see nephew do is because I taught it to him. I
Okay.
taught him that diligence, that perseverance, that responsibility, accountability. I taught him all of that. Every piece of success he has is because it's a lesson I taught him. Now, this is the thing that I say about respect for men and women. Men respect women who they feel is in their place, not as a whole entity, in their place.
Mm,
So when I ask you the question, what's the difference between respecting a man and a woman? There really shouldn't be any. There really shouldn't be any difference. Because what we're talking about is just respecting people as an independent entity. There are things that you can learn from your wife because there's things she can bring to the table. She's supposed to be a helpmate. So there's a dynamic that's supposed to be underneath you. And I think that's when men think my respect is garnered more because I'm supposed to be above you. That's just socialization. That's just the system that we're in.
okay.
What women are saying is that I can respect you as a person. That gives you power.
Okay.
Also, when we bring physicality into it, let's talk about that because we're bringing physicality into it. The only way a man is guaranteed to be more superior to a woman is physically. Your woman may be smarter than you. Woman may be more spiritually, financially, emotionally, and mentally sound than you. And in a lot of cases, they are.
Mm,
Yet, because you have the physical aspect, that's the dominance part. I can
mm.
always hurt you physically. Yeah, you can. That doesn't mean that your respect level should be any more than mine.
Agreed.
I think that we're great. So what I think the issue when men say y'all don't know how to respect women. Well, if I tell you you don't know how to respect a woman, I think that not you, but if I say you don't know how
I
to respect a
understand.
woman,
I
you
understand.
know what I'm saying? I don't I don't think you know how to respect a woman, because if you don't respect me as a whole entity, as a whole human, myself, then why should I respect you? Also, if we're going by your logic, which I think is a very valid point, that women have had to step into a role, that if you believe in those roles, hard and soft energy, that a woman has to stay more in her harder energy and it's harder for her to come back, then you have to have the patience. Just like you need to be taught to be soft, she needs to taught not to be hard. Do you understand?
I
Do you
do,
get it?
but for me, and this slight pushback,
Of course.
me personally,
Mhm.
I can care less what puts you in that hard energy. When you meet me, I'm gonna tell you exactly how energy is gonna flow. So all of the, I need a man to put me in my soft era. I don't buy that shit.
Yeah, but
I
men say I
tell
need women to put them in their masculine energy as well.
what
You won't
man,
let
what
no, no, no.
man raised by men says that shit.
A bunch of men raised by men say that.
Positive men.
A bunch of men. You didn't say positive or negative. You said
I'm
men.
talking. We only okay. We're speaking about the dynamic of having positive male role models, the same men that women claim that they want to have from the yesteryear, not the ones that had the family across the train tracks. I'm talking about the positive, influential man. What man had a positive role model and influence in his life that says, I need a woman to make me feel in my masculine area to do masculine shit? I've
A lot
never
of
heard
them.
it. I've
Listen,
never heard it.
and yet, just because something is not your reality doesn't mean it's not a reality.
True, but I can only speak from my experiences. I can't speak
No,
from
you
the
cannot.
experiences of other people that I don't
I
know.
really hope that you don't do that. I hate when you say that to a degree. I
Why?
promise you I do.
Why?
Because that's like saying you don't see the world around you.
I see the world.
Okay, so then if you see the world around you, I can guarantee you that there are men that were raised by men who have the thought process that a woman has to let them be a man. And they would consider they would consider those men positive male role models because they didn't cuss or beat a woman. Literally, I keep telling men there's a nature of men and
Mm,
how they act and behave when men are not around.
mm,
And what I'm telling you is from the vantage point, because
mm.
you know I love that word, vantage point,
You can have
of
it.
someone that sees that part. When men are around men, they act different. When men are around women, they act different. And you have a bunch of men whose fathers and grandfathers and them say a woman has to let you, she not allowing you to be a man. She got to let you be a man. That this is literally how they talk all the time.
But how you gonna let me be something you don't know how to be?
How you gonna let me be something that's what you already are? Nobody has to let me be any. I am Nick. I am Prez, and that's
I am Mac. That's my point.
listen,
How
and
you
that's
going?
what
How?
I get you.
Okay,
I
so
get
when
you,
you,
Mac. I don't understand it myself because I'm like, if a woman doesn't let you be a man, what are you, a tree trunk? What are you, a cat?
but
Like, what are you when women are not
that
around?
begs to differ the kind of individual man that you're talking to. Because if that man, that right there for me sounds like a man that don't know how to lead. That right there to me sounds like a man that doesn't know that he was born and his ovaries turned to testicles and his penis dropped from his
A
vagina came
lot
out.
of men
That's what
do.
it sounds like to me.
Listen, and a lot of men are Mac. That's a lot of men. I think when we talk about in general, because you know these are generalized conversations. We know there's exceptions to rules. We
Hmm.
know that. We get that. When we talk about men, men aren't, from what we see from the women's standpoint,
Okay.
men are taught that being a man is just not being a woman. That's what men are taught. That's why I say men don't like women. Because you're taught that if these traits are seen in you, it's bad.
I you know what, I do, I will I'll agree on that. I
Yeah.
think that, and I'm gonna say this honestly, and
Hmm.
I think I know what I think I know what some women mean when they say certain things. From 17 to 32, I don't think I actually liked women.
Hmm.
I think that I did things in sole purpose for the gratifications and the praise of a man.
Yes.
So for me, I completely understand when a woman says, "Yeah, men don't like women. They're sexually attracted to them, but they don't like them." And it took me on my, I don't know, it was like week 3 of my series of Hold'em. I was like, I think, who am I doing this for? Like, who's keeping score? Who's tracking this? Who's doing? None of this matters in the grand scheme of things.
Listen to the things that men say women like. It's not what women say women like in a man. It's what other men find attractive in other men.
True, but can you say that?
Six pack. Listen,
no,
6 figures.
No,
$100,000.
We ain't finna do that. That's
That's
something. No, I've heard that list that was created by a woman. That wasn't a man's list.
That wasn't a list created by a woman.
What?
That was absolutely
no. I heard a woman created that list. He got to be at least 6 foot. He had to have at least 6 figures.
Then describe to me short. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm gonna give you a hint. Short kings. Any man that's under 6 feet.
That's a short king. I was told short kings is about 5'9" and lower.
Okay, 5'9" and lower. Like short kings ain't getting play. A lot of you short kings don't get play because you're insufferable. Because some man done ranked you to death about being a short king.
Bruh.
If you had the confidence that you were supposed to have, just being you,
right,
you would get more play. Nobody would care about that.
True.
Most women would care. And so that's what we're saying. The things that men think women find them attractive for is what most men date to impress their boys.
True.
Most men do what they do to get played from. You don't like women. And believe it or not, if you learn to like women, you probably, baby, if you move like I never understood you going to a man to tell you what the fuck a woman want. That doesn't make sense to me.
I'll agree. And I'm going to also say this, being a married man, I can honestly tell you, I like my wife. I still don't like women. Because I watch, but I don't like them from a different perspective now. Now, when you watch them in public, I'm the guy that turned into the dude that was like, damn, she's just gonna walk around with her titties out. Like that's all right. That's cool. That's a lot. That's wow. So that's how she's overly flirtatious with everybody. And okay, like I'm that dude now. Because I'm looking at it from a standpoint where I'm a guy that has a daughter now, and I'm looking at it from I would never tell my daughter to move like that because people are crazy. Hey, you shouldn't wear this because X, Y, and Z.
We about to get into this conversation, and I know we had this conversation the other day. While prevention is a part of protection,
mm-hmm.
Please let us be clear. When I say it, let me say it a third time. Prevention is a part of protection, but generally what you like to do is prevention isn't directly addressing the issue. Listen, you be so mad at me when I say this, and I'm telling you this, because prevention doesn't prevent everything. It just doesn't.
Okay, go ahead.
Don't get to breathing and moving mics and shit.
No, because this is what had me pissed off the last time we talked.
I know.
This is why the conversation made it to an hour and a half. But go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay.
Now we got witnesses.
Prevention is a part of protection. I do believe that you should put yourself in the proper positions. However, we know things have still happened even when you put yourself in the proper position.
True.
So prevention isn't the way to solve the problem. It's a multi-layered. It's not just, yes, okay, tell your daughter there are ways to move. I agree, there are ways to move. And yet your daughter can move those ways and something can still happen to her.
True.
So we also have to address directly what the problem is. Why are you sick in the head that even if a woman wanted to do that, she couldn't? That's the problem. And even though there's a time and place for everything, please know that if there's a time and a place for everything. Like you notice, like people don't get ogled at beaches. They're half naked at beaches because that's the place for you to be half naked. So
it sounds like you're making my point.
No, I'm not making. I'm agreeing. I didn't disagree with your point.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with
Yeah,
yours.
I don't
But
disagree with your point.
I agree with what you're saying. That prevention doesn't fix the problem. I agree.
Right, it doesn't fix the problem.
I understand
think
that.
we only focus on the prevention part. That's the part that we're
But
that's the part right there.
that's the only part that I can control. I can't control what Bill does when he's looking at a girl across the room like, if I just had the opportunity, I would just yo, Bill,
And
keep it. I can't control. I don't know what Bill thinking.
No, you cannot, but that's a problem with
Go ahead. Don't deep sigh.
No, when I deep side, that's me trying to find the words. It's not because
take your time. It's a live podcast. Just take your time.
Okay. When we have a situation where we are talking about prevention and protection, men only want to protect what they can control. Unfortunately, you have to worry about, to a degree, the things you cannot. The environment is something you have to consider when you're making your prevention plan.
But
if I have a person that's falling all over their room, I have to make sure that it's not shit on the floor. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You have to go to that part. I think a lot of times prevention is the lazy pimping way of dealing with an issue, because you're going to the more reasonable party of the two in order to stop it. It's just like somebody be acting crazy, but you go to the person who is the recipient and say, like, don't respond, because you can, the more reasonable of the two is the easier and lesser of two evils. No, somebody still need to go and talk to that fool that's acting crazy too. It's a twofold thing.
Let me, thank you. Thank you, podcast gods. Let me ask you a question. Because we had this conversation before, but it was under a different degree. Let's say that there was this guy that is known for being aggressive towards women, right? It's a known thing that if you go down the road of such and such boulevard in Cleveland, he gonna be there. And he only wants smoke for women.
Okay.
Right? And on this faithful day in Cleveland, you find yourself with your son in the atmosphere or in the area of where said gentleman is. Now, this gentleman don't want smoke with dudes. He only wants smoke with women. Are you going to ask your son to take care of the core base of the problem, or are you going to prevent him from going in that area anyway?
Do I have to go to the area?
No, you don't have to do anything.
I don't have to go. What if the area that you're asking me to go is a clinic I need to take my son to? Do I have to go to that area?
Yes.
Okay. So if I have to go to the area, no, I'm not going to ask my son to take care of that issue. I'm not going to ask.
But he won't step to a dude. Internet nephew 6'140".
Listen, internet nephew 6'140". This dude probably 6'3", 320. He's not. No, my son's not going up against that whole man. However, that doesn't mean that we don't. Somebody who is of equal standing to that man doesn't have to address that issue. True. It does mean, however, that I need to do my part to make it as safe as possible. I think there is a responsibility for people to conduct themselves a certain type of way.
But you can't control everything. How you gonna make? You can do everything right, and he still finds you to get the smoke.
Listen,
when should internet nephew intervene?
No, I don't send people I love to intervene.
What if internet nephew wants to go to a party that's on the other side of town? It's not the best side of town, and it get wild and crazy over there. You gonna prevent him from going, or you gonna tell him, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the party, but I'm gonna get to the source of the problem and tell these kids, no, we shouldn't do X, Y, and Z."
I think you're oversimplifying.
But as a man, that's what I do. It's only black and white. There is no gray areas for me.
I really hate that you think like that. When you look at a complex, I said this to you the other day.
You did?
When you look at a complex problem, as if it were simple, that doesn't make the problem simple. It makes you simple-minded.
Agree to disagree.
It's not, of course, but that doesn't change the fact that there's a complex problem. We have to do something about the environment. We have to address both sides. You can't address one side.
So what's the simple-mindedness of it?
The simple-mindedness is that you're saying that there's only one or another way to solve the problem. It's a complex problem. It's a multi-layered problem. You have to solve multi-layers of the problem to resolve the entirety of the problem.
Give me a complex problem. I bet I simplify it.
And I'm telling you that even though you simplify it, that doesn't make the answer that simple.
Why not?
Doesn't matter.
Everything boils down to choice.
No, it doesn't.
What don't boil down to choice? What doesn't come down to choice?
Everything doesn't come down to choice.
Name something.
The situation I am in as a single mother was not my choice.
Agree to disagree.
Why?
You chose to keep.
I chose to have a child.
That's a choice.
Yes, it is a choice. I did not choose to be a single parent. Me choosing to have a child doesn't mean I chose to be a single parent. Me getting in a car doesn't mean I choose to be in a car accident.
True.
Okay.
Very true.
So not everything comes down to choice.
No, but if you say you didn't choose to be a single parent, you choose the person?
I don't even think I chose a person. That wasn't the goal.
Yo!
That was not the goal. I think something complex. I didn't choose that.
That sounds like assault.
This is another part.
That sounds like assault if you ain't choose the person.
Listen, I didn't choose the person because this is the thing. God chose that person for me. That was God's choice, not mine. This be the thing that I tell people about the situation. Internet Nephew's father was supposed to be fun. I chose him to have fun. I wasn't looking for him to do other things other have fun. And we have to stop acting like everybody's sexual activity is based upon procreation. It's not. 90% of our sexual activity is based upon recreational use only. Right. And then things like this happen, like the actual intended purpose happens, which is what Internet Nephew is. And then things come back on the back end. Now, knowing that that's the case, do I sit around and be mad and upset and bitter and look at my son as some punishment to something I shouldn't have been doing? No. My son is an unplanned outcome. One of the best situations that ever happened to me in my life. And yet, when it was my time to have a more focused look after I had my son, that's why I only have one. I said, no more after this one. I think I'm good. However, the choice to keep him, there were multiple options. The one I could live with was keeping him.
Right. The one you could live with. So when you make it, so that kind of boils to my point. When you make a choice, you choose to live with it. All right. But keyword, you made the choice. My simple answer through a complex problem was everything boils down to choice. Your complexity of your thing is saying you not want to be a single mother. You said you made a choice.
No, I made a choice to be a mother.
Right.
I didn't make a choice to be a single mother.
But can you control what another person does?
No, which is why I said it's not always about choice.
True. I get that. I said, but at the basis of it, every decision starts with a choice.
Whose choice?
Who you choose to have fun with. I just found this out because my daughter is 2. I just found out that sex equals procreation. I just found this out 2 years ago. All before I was the 90% like, this is just recreational fun. Indifferent. But somehow my choices allowed me to make it through 35 years child-free. And on year 36.
I made it almost 31.
You see what I'm saying? On year 36, it was like we made a choice to be like, all right, is this what you want?
What I'm saying is every situation in your life is not always based upon your choice.
What situation in my life ain't based on my choice?
Me being a single mother is not based upon my choice.
That's not my life. That's yours.
Again, I'm not talking about you. We're saying that in general.
Like, but if you're talking about in general, your baby dad made a choice to not put a life vest and to drown in that sea of wetness. He made a choice. His choice affected your choice.
Don't be describing me like that, bro.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to get kicked off the live, but I don't know.
I said I'm somebody's mother, man. Don't be talking about me like that, man.
You somebody's mother by choice. There you go. Right? Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
No, what I'm saying is that some choices can be. I don't disagree that there are some choices that are very simple. I also know that there are problems that are complex. I don't think every choice is black and white. I always think context is a shade of gray. I always think we live in a shade of gray. I don't think anybody lives in a completely absolute black and white situation, because based upon the context is the shade of gray. Based upon the context, a decision can change.
Right.
Unaliving a person, depending on the context in which you do it, is either self-defense or schmurder. So, like I said, I don't think everything is black and white. However, I don't disagree with you totally that you have to do things that only you can control in order to try to prevent things from happening. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I just don't think that we can ignore or negate the other part of that.
I'm not trying. Here's my problem. When you're raised by the men that I was raised by, and you've done the things in my life that I've done, I've seen firsthand how people make decisions, and how people make decisions largely boil down to what choice are you going to make. So 10 years in and out of law enforcement, and being a part of that, I've went to several houses and arrested several people that had the ability of walking away from something that was problematic, or that was complex, or that was situational. And they made a choice to be involved in whatever. And the consequences of their actions will be what it is. In college, my college sweetheart, I walked in, literally saw her getting owned by another dude. I made a choice in that moment to say, I could murder both of them right now, but let me walk outside. I took the house key, I threw it in the woods so I couldn't get back in after I locked the door. I paced the parking lot for about 15 minutes, and then I made a phone call, acknowledging my college sweetheart and telling her, hey, I saw what she was doing. She played dumb. Eventually she knew that I was there, so on and so forth. I made a choice to say, I don't want the next 15, 20 years of my life, 2 weeks before my college graduation, to be behind a cell trying to tell Lamar, bro, I'm not doing that. Like, come on, Bubba, back up. I didn't want that for me. It was a choice.
No, okay.
So when I hear, hold on, I'm gonna land the plane. When I hear you say things like complex problems, based on my life experiences, based on being in law enforcement, based on the day-to-day decisions that I see and I see people make, I've seen in every situation, with the exception of drunk driving, but even then somebody made a choice to drive drunk. You didn't choose to get hit by a car. You didn't choose that. You were on your way home. You were going to the supermarket, whatever have you. Somebody made a choice that ultimately ended somebody else's life. For the people that were in the driver's seat of their own decisions, made their choices, and I just so happen to be the consequences. So when I say I apply that to my life and I look at the people's lives around me, I don't know a person that's in a situation that they don't take accountability for the choices they made. So if that's my surroundings, I can't help but to see things black and white. I can't help it. That's all I know.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is that we equate people's choices, like not every choice you made led you to a situation where you're at. That's what I'm telling you. It's not my choice to engage. I again, let's use the driving thing. I consent to getting in the car. I can do everything right, and someone else's choice can cause me to be in a situation. What I'm saying is we cannot equate everybody's problems to always being to their choices. True. Some people's problems can be to other people's choices. Do people have to take accountability for I did a video the other day about one of the 4 people in my life that did me the dirtiest. And I said, wow, I have to take accountability for granting them the access that extended the amount of time they were allowed to do this. That doesn't change the fact that they did diabolical things to me unwarranted. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do.
The choice for extended, that was my choice. I have to take part in that part of the hurt. That doesn't stop the fact that they were a diabolical bastard and did some stuff to me that they shouldn't have done. What I'm saying is not every choice that I made led me to something that I didn't want to be in. And I think we equate that. We equate like everything that happens to you, you played some part in it. I disagree with that. And I'm saying it's not the majority of the time. Most of the time, the things that happen to you, some decision you made led to that. That's not all the time. That's why I say prevention is one part, but addressing someone else is another part. That's why I'm saying it's complex. It's not as black and white as just, oh, this is, you have to understand how the different parties played. And that's all I'm saying. And for you, you're saying you like, for me, it's just black and white. I get it. I get it.
Because you argue every time I say I see things as black and white.
I'm saying that I understand why you see things as black and white. I'm saying for me, there is gray. Since when we ever had to be an echo chamber? Never. We're on the same vibration. We're not on the same mind. We don't have the same mind. That's why we're so good when we have a conversation. If I thought just like you, these conversations would be boring.
Oh, yeah, true. But, sometimes you got to admit that when you're wrong, you're wrong.
You listen, who says that me thinking in shades of gray is worse than you thinking in black and white?
I do.
I can make the argue the other way. That doesn't mean I'm wrong.
It does.
It just means
you're wrong.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
Okay.
1,000%.
Okay.
You're wrong. You think you're right?
Deny.
You're wrong.
And I'm not.
You're wrong.
But okay.
It's fine.
Okay. No, it's not fine because I'm not wrong. Thanks. Y'all, this is how these conversations go. Once a week, we be on the phone for hours doing this stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
He said, you're wrong. And I'm like, and you know what? This is another thing. Me and Rack very rarely disagree. That's one of the things. I think people will hear this conversation and think we disagree all the time. We don't. We very rarely disagree. However, on this one thing, I just think that's how that goes. Now, do I think that there are some things that you step into, like that warden?
Yeah, talk about it.
Like the warden?
The warden that made the choice?
The warden that made the choice?
It was black and it was. There you go. Thank you for proving my point. Come on, talk about the warden. We talking about the warden now.
I'm sorry.
Come on, let's tell the people about the warden.
Are we all on the same conversation? Because I could have swore that I said some problems are black and white, but there are shades of gray.
But it's a complex problem. Do you want to read to the people what happened?
This is not a complex problem.
It's not?
No.
How is it not?
Because why are you the warden of a jail where you house criminals, getting involved with the criminal, and then wondering why your life is going down the shitter?
Maybe she just wanted to have fun.
You had your fun. Is it fun now?
I'm gonna revisit the previous conversation. You had your fun. Is your life fun now?
Yes, my life is fun now.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me about the warden.
What you trying to say?
I'm asking a question.
No, what you trying to say?
I'm asking a question.
Again, not every situation is black and white. I'm going to say that again. This one happens to be a black and white issue.
So
you think every problem is black and white? I think you speaking in the absolute.
You gotta okay. Does anybody that's reading, that's listening to the conversation, that's in the group,
people up now?
Because I need some areas of gray. Let's see if I can simplify some gray areas for people. If y'all want to come in and talk, y'all can talk. But because I'm missing it, and I'm not above learning.
No,
I'm not above.
What I said is not every problem is black and white.
It is if you're having fun with the wretched.
No, yes. If you're having fun with the wretched, yes. That is black and white. Agreed. I agree with you. No, I agree with you. I'm saying when we talk about people, when we talk about problems where it involves another party's decisions that could talk to you, that's not a black and white issue. That's not your choice will prevent this. That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
Okay, so we're on the same page. Shut up.
Well, but it depends on the context of what you're talking about. Like when you say drunk drivers, that's not a black and white thing.
Listen, drunk drivers is a black and white thing. I didn't choose that. You got in your car, and now I'm damaged.
But you could have been going about your married way, doing everything right.
That's what I'm saying.
Are you arguing my point? What is happening?
Okay,
what is happening? Are we in the twilight zone?
Isn't he so difficult? Because we're literally saying the same thing, Mac. I'm saying that even though problems arise because of a choice, the part that makes it complex is when it's not only it's a two-folded situation, it's multi-layered. That's what makes it complex. When we talk about people doing things to people, you can do something about the part you control. What about the other person? You have to address that too. So you can't just say this is the only way to resolve the issue. If there's a whole nother level you have to go to. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
But there are some situations that are black and white. Some people cause their own chaos. Absolute. The warden.
That's
caused
all I'm saying. More
We're
often than
agreeing.
not, I think, my personal belief, more often than not, most people cause their own chaos.
I agree.
So why? Oh shit!
Did y'all?
God.
That's what you get. Because I've been agreeing with you the whole time. I'm like, I agree. I said, although it's not the majority of the time,
You never said that.
Did I or did? Let's
You
ask the
never
comments.
said
Did
that.
I or did I not
You
say that?
never said, although it's not the majority
I
of the
hope
time.
when you edit this bad boy, you hear exactly what I said.
I know I'm gonna hear exactly what you said. You never said that. If you just
I
said,
did.
if you would have said that it's not the majority of the
Thank you,
time,
Miss Kia. Thank you, Miss Kia.
if you just said
I
it's
did.
not the majority of the time, Miss Kia, you deaf in one ear. Don't nobody ask you nothing.
Yes, you.
Didn't nobody ask her nothing.
Yes, I did.
Again, we are recording live on TikTok, live podcast on TikTok. That's how we're talking to random people
No,
that y'all
I
don't
did.
hear.
No, we're on the same page, Mac. What I'm saying is that the majority of the time people do cause their own chaos. The
That's all
majority
I'm
of the
saying.
things that have happened into my life happened because I made a choice and I was like, oh my God.
That's
Now-
all I'm saying, Nick.
How can you tell me that I don't feel that when I'm the change the mindset, change the behavior lady? I literally believe that. It's how you think tells you how you move, tells you. Change the mindset, change the behavior, change the outcome is literally you causing your own chaos. If you change how you look at things and think about things, you'll change how you act, and that'll change out the outcome. But some situations are not black and white, Mac. I'm going to stick to that.
I think the hang up for me is when you say situations ain't black and white, it stems from the conversation of telling my daughter what not to wear. And you're saying protection is a part of prevention, but it's not the root cause. It needs to be fixed.
It's not.
But that's
It's
not
not.
the but that situation can't be gray for me. When it comes
I
to
get
the
you.
safety and welfare of my daughter, there is no gray.
No, I get you.
So why
I
are we
get
so why are we talking?
Because that doesn't negate the fact that the root cause of the problem is not necessarily the part that you're telling your daughter. Your
Agreed.
prevention is not the root cause.
Agreed.
That's all I'm saying. Okay.
I agree that it's not the root cause. However, my statement still remains. I can't do anything about the root cause.
I
can
agree.
only
You
do
can't
things.
anything about it.
So
I agree
why-
with you.
Oh God, we just spent 52 minutes talking about the same shit.
No,
Oh,
we
my
didn't
head.
spend 52 minutes talking about the same shit. It's coming to an understanding. I want you to, again, it's not just black and white. For you, the answer and solution to the problem is to teach your daughter certain things.
Right.
If somebody had taught the other person certain things, then this wouldn't be a problem. That's where you get into these mass thought processes, the conditioning, how people look, how people interact, all of those things. You get into that at that point. And so then that's when I say it's just not that black and white. You're going to handle the part you can control, which is what you teach your daughter. Got you.
Okay.
Hello there, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. If you all want to come up and discuss something, or if you have another something that you want us to talk about, please, by all means.
Yeah, let us know. In the
Yeah, let us
meantime, do you have the story pulled up with the what you call
The
it?
warden.
The warden, because
I don't have the story pulled up with the warden. Do you?
so no, I can't pull it up without.
Okay,
doing
so
anything
the
on the
gist of the
phone.
story with the warden is that there is a warden who got involved with a
Inmate.
prisoner, an inmate, and the inmate didn't tell certain parts of their life, like they had a STI and some other things, and now the warden life is going down a shame spiral. She done lost everything because she got into a tryst or a situation with the inmate.
Which
And
brings up my question.
mhm.
Is dating really so hard that you have to risk your job to get some D from a man that's inside a jail cell? Is it that bad out there for women? I just want to know. I'm asking for a friend.
You want me to answer that?
You're the only other woman that's on the box. Now, if you got other women that want to talk, they can. But is it that bad when you have women out here that's assaulting gentlemen in prisons and students and things of that nature? Is it that bad? Is dating or finding someone free or age appropriate that bad for the
She's living in her masculine energy.
You will not put that on the testosterone community.
I will definitely put that
you
on
will
the
not put that on the
He is
testosterone
living
community.
in masculine energy. The first thing I thought is how manly of you, ma'am. How very manly of you. That's what I said.
How manly? No, you can't put that on men. That's not.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That's absolutely men.
So
manly thing to do.
So okay. So
to take advantage of people that you're supposed to be taking care of. That is absolutely men.
So if she's in her masculine energy, you're a woman. You can answer this. Why do women want to be the worst part of men?
I think women want to be the worst part of men.
Yeah.
I think what men define as masculinity are the worst parts of them.
So why do women want to be it?
I don't think that women, the only people that I would say would want to be it are studs.
I don't even think studs want to be it.
Listen,
they want to be masculine presenting, but I don't think they want to be masculine.
Oh, no, you should hear how some of them talk.
I know.
They talk just like
you tell us, hey, you look nice, sweetheart. Hey, go on with that gay shit. Like, you a chick, bro.
They talk just like a red pill. What I'm saying is that when men think of masculine energy in women, the first thing they think is aggressive. They think disloyal. They think domineering. They think these things. And when you tell me that women are sitting in their masculine energy and their masculine energy is negative, what are you saying about men? If that to you is masculine energy, then what are you saying about men?
You asking me?
No, I'm saying that's a general question. No, this is a rhetorical question. Like just something to think about because if what I see presented in you, I feel is negative, because men will say, well, it's negative to see. So like, it's okay for a man to be aggressive. It's not okay for a woman to be aggressive because masculinity is aggressive. So are you saying that men are aggressive? Not all men are aggressive.
Masculinity to me ain't aggressive though.
Right. But when men describe women's masculinity, it's always the worst parts of masculinity.
But you have to consider where the source is coming from. It's like, I don't understand why women go outside their way to be triggered by men of the red pill community, because if you know it triggers you, if you know it's full of shit, if you know it's not real, then why do you go above and beyond to be a part of that goofy ass conversation, to sit in the comments, to constantly run up their numbers? Why do you put yourself in situations where you know the source of the information is bullshit, but you still chose to engage anyway?
I think those women believe that they're fighting against an ideology that is spreading quicker than wildfire.
That to me is as asinine as an educated law professor arguing with a MAGA person. It's the same degree of stupidity. You asking somebody, hey, can you explain to me why you feel women deserve to be in the house barefoot and pregnant? Because that's the way that it was back in the day, and but do you know why women are the most educated and they're this and they're that? And the reason why that, women were staying home is because legally they weren't allowed to have bank accounts, they weren't allowed to have jobs. So when they got access to certain things, they didn't want to be defined by their own men's money. And then knowing that led to them having their own things and giving them a little bit more say. So now, depending on who you are, a lot of dudes ain't them dudes, because I don't care how much money my chick got, daddy still run the house. You can make whatever you make, do whatever you do, daddy still run the house, because it's my job to protect and provide for this thing. But a lot of dudes get so wrapped up in the idea of if a woman makes more money, she got more say. Sir, if money is all you got to offer, then you already lost. I got swag, conversation. I'm somewhat attractive. Like I'm not the best looking, but I ain't the bottom. You see what I'm saying? I got personality, size. I have a little bit of worldly adventure about me. So all of that mixed in with the openness to understand and also knowing a woman's plight and strife and things that they go through, I'm a good catch. I feel. I'm not trying to make a woman feel bad because it didn't choose me. I ain't everybody's cup of tea. And I'm okay with it. So if you consider where the source of the information is coming from, there's certain people that can't trigger me. A woman saying, if a man can't pay all my bills and give me $500 before we go on a date, he too broke for me. Well, I'm too broke. You got it, mama. I don't go outside my way to be triggered. I don't go outside my way to be frustrated. So if you're considering where the source of the information is coming from, if the man that you wouldn't want to be with is telling you their definition of a masculine man and it gets you flustered, that has less to say about him than it does about you, in my opinion. Did I lose you?
No, I'm
processing.
I
don't have the doo-doo-doo sound, but I can find something.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to tell you. I got it.
Okay. I'll get that for next week.
I think you have the pleasure to have that opinion because the thoughts, views, and opinions of these men will not harm you the way it will harm a woman.
What do you mean?
Meaning that you will have the red pill community really talks about the benefit where it's all the benefit goes towards men, where women are not benefited in any way, shape, or form in it. It's very harmful. If it's spreading like wildfire, women are fighting for their right to continue to be an autonomous being. Men will put you in harmful situations. And again, let's talk about harmful because a lot of times we only equate harm to physical harm.
Okay.
We don't consider mental, emotional, spiritual, or financial harm. And these things can come. So when you have men spreading the rhetoric and it's catching, and a lot of men are sipping on these ideologies, or you have a lot of these deconstructive lives, like these lives where they're deconstructing the red pill patriarchal, traditional standard, and you hear these men that you thought were good men really listen. I'm not.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Good men, and you hear what they say. It is harmful to us in a way that's not harmful to you. I can see why you will formulate the opinion based upon how it will affect you. But it won't. It will hit different for women. So women are fighting back. They're fighting back. That's what that is.
But why do you want to punch a brick wall?
I don't want to punch a brick wall. However,
see, my question. You said good man. All right.
Do something.
Name me one good man that represents the kind of guy that says that spew vile bullshit that you still want to be with. Just one.
You don't want to be with them.
But just name me one good man that was a part of the because I guess here's my problem. The closest thing they had was Derrick Jackson. That was the closest thing. They was like, oh God, he's the Black Jesus Messiah of love and relationship. He told women exactly how to avoid him and guys like him. Because when that came to light, it was like, what do you mean? Not Derrick. Okay,
let's try this
once that crashed and burned, then the Kevin Samuels thing took off, and it was Kevin Samuels, he's just going against women. Well, do you want a man like Kevin Samuels? Well, no. Then why do you care what he says?
I think you are thinking that the only time red pill ideology presents itself is in the extreme.
Name a time where it's not extreme.
I have a brother that literally does not have the extreme to that.
What does he say?
Yet, who, my brother?
Hmm?
Oh, all bitches are liars. All women are this. Something, something, something. Now he takes care of his wife, takes care of his children.
Mhm.
He ain't beating around or cussing nobody out or nothing, yet still carries ideologies of the red pillars. And it can seep out into other things because he has two sons. What are you teaching
He
your sons?
he said
Again,
all women are liars.
not okay, not all women are liars. Let me rephrase that. He'll say something like, you know, these women think everybody want them, and why are they upset because some of them do act a certain type of way, like they think they too good to go here and there and do this, and they should be in the kitchen and they don't let men be men. I think when we speak about these things, we have to understand that red pill ideology is on a gradient like everything else. Nobody's going to go for the overt red pill guy. A lot of masking is done so that you don't look like the red pill guy. A lot of masking is done so you're the incel. And I think if you think about it in a gradient as opposed to extreme, extreme, again, you're thinking black and white like there's not a gradient. You can have men that have red pill ideologies that's closer to the gentler side than they will be to the most extreme side.
But I mean, I'm trying to ask this in the most politically correct way possible. How do you not see that during the dating phase?
Because men mask.
Mask?
Mask.
Hmm.
At one point in time when you were out there dating, before you said, what am I doing this for? Are you telling me you didn't present yourself in a different way in order to gain the favor of the lady? That's called masking.
No.
Like you may have, so you didn't spend more money than you had in order to impress a lady?
Yes.
That's masking.
Masking is spending. I didn't spend it to impress her.
No,
I spent it because she asked for it. That's not. I didn't go out there saying, "Yo, I'm gonna pretend like I'm gonna buy you this bag because I got it like that." It was like, "Yo, what restaurant do you want to go to? I want to go to this one."
Right. It's presenting yourself in a way that is not authentic to yourself. That's not authentic to your situation, to impress and get the women on your side.
It's not on my. If you're talking, I get if you're talking about
in general.
I understand, but you asked me a direct question. You didn't say in general. You asked me.
I said, have you ever?
Said, have you ever? You is me, right?
Yeah.
So if you're asking, have you ever had me ever spent a lot of money on a woman? It wasn't to impress. It was because it was the date, and because I'm raised in the South, the guys paid to go on the date. Now, after the date, and I saw, for the first date, she wanted to spend $200 for $2 conversation. I'm not going to talk to her again. Am I still masking? Because I didn't get anything out of it. I got dry conversation and stuck with a very large bill.
Yes, you're still masking.
How was that masking? What did I get out of it?
You presented yourself. It doesn't matter what you got out of it. It was presenting yourself in a way that was not authentic to yourself.
So women don't mask?
Whether you got something out of it or not.
Women don't mask in the beginning. Everything you've done in your life, you've never masked. Everything. You don't mask? Huh?
I'm asking.
Oh, so you don't mask in dating?
No.
You are your authentic self? You've always been?
All the time. Always been that. I've never been able to be anything other.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've never had to mask. Women generally don't have to mask. That's not something women have to do. No, they don't.
I call bullshit on that one.
I call bullshit on the fact that men don't men do a lot of masking.
I didn't say they don't. I said I don't.
No, you don't.
I have. Based on what you're saying that's masking. But I think masking is covering up who you are to gain something from an individual. Me paying more money for a date than I normally would is not masking. It's me trying to take a young lady out to gauge her time, confidence, and conversation. That's not masking to me. I'm not pretending to be something I'm not. Because in the reality of it,
more money than you have available.
Sweetheart, I can have $50,000 in the bank and don't want to pay for a $200 date.
Listen, and
because what I have is not what I have in the bank is not relevant to the time and the conversation I'm trying to gauge from the person.
$50,000 in the bank.
No,
it's a thing. It's a thing men do to get honeys. Men mask. They say the game. The game is masking.
So you think? Just so I'm clear, you think. Me saying no. I'm asking you based on my situation. You think Me walking up to a young lady, asking how she's doing, getting her a drink that was like maybe $5-6, saying, hey, get your time, conversation. We talk on the phone, and her making the suggestion of going to an expensive restaurant, our first go around, and me saying, I'm probably not in the financial realm of what, because I can't continue to do this and then have food for myself 3 months from now, cutting off. You think that paying for a date outside of financial comfort zone, because I didn't go in there thinking I'm going to pay $200 to try to get this, honey. I'm thinking we're going to go and have a conversation and we'll see where it goes from there. You thought that everything I just said is a form of masking.
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
I didn't say.
I disagree.
I think that anytime. Okay, that's fine.
I
doesn't
disagree.
change the fact. That doesn't change the fact. At some point or time,
Doesn't change the opinion. That's not a fact.
No, it is a fact.
No, that's your
Because
opinion.
anytime that you are not living to your
That's
authentic,
your
you are
opinion.
masking. It's not. It's literally the definition of masking.
Show me the. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna look up the definition of masking.
Go ahead.
Define masking. Okay. Masking is hiding or concealing something or someone, or a defensive behavior where someone is hiding their true personality. I go on dates with my wife now with $300-400. So how am I hiding my true personality from a date from yesteryear?
You don't have to hide your true personality.
No. You said when I did it with the random, you said it was masking. But when I do it with my wife, it's not?
No, because you're not being your unauthentic person with your wife.
I was being my authentic self back then. The problem was the right person to do it for.
No.
So what I did yesteryear and what I do today is the exact same thing, but with the different person that I chose to commit to.
Situation that happened in the Atlanta dating scene with you?
Yeah.
Okay. At one point in time, in order to impress people, when you would go out on these dates, when you were younger, and I'm talking about back in the day, I'm not talking about now, I'm not talking about after 30, I'm talking about younger years. There's a lot of masking that goes on.
I don't disagree. I said, based on my example, if I did it for the shorty from back then, because when you talk about masking from yesteryear, buying a car I couldn't afford because the look, that's masking. Because I would never do that now.
You can't afford is masking.
I didn't. I could afford it. I just didn't want the person. Because if the conversation was lit, I don't care about the money. The money doesn't mean anything.
No one said that you cared about the money.
So what's the masking part? If I did it for shorty yesteryear, the money is irrelevant. If I'm paying $200 for $2 conversation.
You literally had a conversation where you said me being out here trying to afford these days for these honeys that I couldn't led you to being homeless at one point.
Never homeless. True? No, never homeless.
Okay. So
I said me being out here, I said Atlanta women taught me that women will go out with men just to get food. I learned that because I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. Girls didn't go out with girls back then because they was hungry. They went out because they were interested. So when I went to Atlanta, it's not
change the fact that at some point in time you presented yourself in a way, again, back in the day, I'm not saying now, where you presented yourself to attract a honey that you like.
It's not attract. You're telling me dating is to attract? I'm not flossing with money, Nick. I didn't say, yo, let's go out and pop bottles.
So what is dating for?
Dating is to get to know the individual to see if you want to spend time with them and consistently build upon a rapport and relationship to eventually be in one and possibly commit to the idea of being engaged and or married. Dating isn't to floss. I don't know how they do in Cleveland, but in the South, we don't date to be like.
You always dated to get married?
Yes.
Okay.
Did I lose you? Hello? Is it me you're looking for?
You didn't lose me. I said okay.
Okay. Because maybe I misunderstood, but now fucking around, because you don't always have sex to have kids, but it happened. Mm-hmm. So I didn't date every time I dated, it was the intent of trying to get with somebody. Meeting somebody and hooking up, that's not dating. That's not dating. I didn't have to spend money on girls I was hooking up with. I spent money on chicks I was dating with the intention of having a relationship. So by default, if I'm doing the same thing with the shorties from yesteryear, but now I got a person that I actually dated and married, it's the same exact thing, spending more money now because, again, the money wasn't the issue. It was the person. If the person has dry conversation, whether I spent $5 on a cup of coffee or $300 at Red Lobster or Roof Chris, it's still too much. A $5 cup of coffee and dry conversation, I can't afford it. It's not the money I wasted, it's my time. And with the time I wasted in that same thing, that's not masking to me because I'm not putting on the front. I'm showing you I'm trying to be interested and you're not giving me anything.
So let's try this one. You have men, to go back to the original point, who literally mask and act like they're the man you want and still hold a low gradient of red pill ideology, and it is harmful. So the women go into those spaces to fight back. And I believe that every man at some point has masked, whether it's to hook up with somebody or to date.
I believe that everybody's done that.
That's how the game is taught.
I believe everybody's done that.
Okay.
Everyone has been in some way, shape, form, or fashion a lesser or a hidden version of themselves to obtain an individual for whatever rhyme or reason. You don't like sports, but you watch it for this dude, you're masking. You don't really eat seafood, but he's taking you to Red Lobster, you're masking. You don't really like to be around family, like to be in your own space, but you'll go around his boys and his family, masking. So I get it. Confidently, you want to tell your followers, hey, I've never done it. I'm gonna call bullshit. I think there's something you've done in your life that wasn't authentically you, to quote your words, in yesteryear when you were younger, that you might have had to do for masking. I think you did it because everybody has.
I've never had to mask.
I call cap.
Why?
Because
I'm a dude's chick.
You a what?
I've never had to mask. I'm a dude's chick. I've never had to mask a day in my life. I don't know how to mask.
You've never been a lesser version of yourself to obtain an individual.
No, I would be with somebody if I was a lesser version of myself.
No. I said to obtain. I didn't say to keep.
No, for real.
To have.
No, for real. I would have who I wanted if I was a lesser version. I never knew how to play that game.
Not today, yesteryear.
Yes.
Okay.
The man to which I was telling you about that was the alcoholic. If I had dumbed myself down, if I had played my role the way they wanted me to, we'd still be together. I know what you're asking me.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had to dumb myself down or play myself. I don't know how. It makes me itch.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I've never had to mask. I can only be myself. However, have I been a victim of somebody masking? Yeah. Have I seen other people mask? Yeah. Can everybody mask? Yes.
But not you. But not you. You said everybody can, but not you. You can't because it makes you itch. You just said it.
No, I don't.
You said, can everybody mask? Yes, but not you. Everybody but you. You're the only person in the world that can't mask because you itch.
I'm the only person in the world that chose not to.
And 40 years of living, you've
45.
45.
And I just told, didn't I say I mask at work?
No. You don't mask because it makes you itch.
No. We said in dating. I said at work. You said you've never masked. I said at work.
So you're right. In 45 years, you were born. You never became anything other than who you were.
No.
Okay. I call cap. Yeah, you're right. I call cap.
Okay.
There's a story in mind that I know of, but it's not my story to tell that I've heard. No. I don't do that. You replay it, every conversation we've had, and with individuals of whom we've had it with, about maybe taking care of somebody's animals that you genuinely don't rock with because you don't even rock with dogs like that, or people's properties and things that need to going above and beyond for things you don't normally do. That's masking. And you've done that for somebody.
That's not masking.
Hold on. So it's not masking when you do it. It's not masking when...
Wait a minute. First of all, I don't have an issue with dogs. I actually don't have dogs in my house because my mother's afraid of dogs.
I'm going on the story that you said.
Again, let's be clear.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with dogs. Mm-hmm. My family has an issue with dogs. Mm-hmm. I love dogs. Number two, me going out of my way to help a friend is something that I would do. I do it for all my friends. So I'm not being unauthentic when I do that.
Mhm.
If you're my friend and I'm with you, I go out of my way for you. So that's not me masking. That's not a mask. A mask is somebody acting like
Now,
they
hold on, wait.
understand your plight
Going
and your
outside your
decision.
way for a friend.
Yeah.
Define friend. Because we're talking about dating. We ain't talking about friends. I brought this
Are we
conversation up for dating.
Dating?
Friend. You didn't do this for a
person that-
friend. You
the
did this for a
person that
person you were dating.
Isn't a friendship a basis for dating?
Oh, no. We're talking about dating only.
Okay,
You
so
said
a
you didn't do
person
none of
that
that
was
for, you do that for friends. But by this time, stuff that came into play, you've already had some overly friendly conversations
Okay.
and physical interactions. So
I do
we've
that for the people I'm
superseded
with,
friendship.
too. I
This
do
is
that
a
for the
dating
people I'm with,
phase.
too. I do that for the people I'm with as well. That's not masking. If I care about you and you one of my people, I will do those things for you. It wasn't anything for me to take care of the dog. I said my family has an issue with the dog. I didn't have an issue with the dog.
But no,
And I
that
took
wasn't
care of
the story that you told me.
No, that is the story I told
No.
you. I
You
don't have
told
an issue
me
with the dog.
I don't even want this dog here. You said you. You didn't say family. You said you.
Oh, if it popped up out of nowhere and I was like, this wasn't my intention. We weren't supposed to keep the dog here. I said, but I'm gonna rock with it because I'm going to help out somebody that I'm with.
This wasn't my intent to spend
That's not
$200 on this date, but I'm
because
gonna rock
I
with
would
it
do that
because
for anyone.
I would do
I
that
would
for
do it for
anyone. How is this different? I still do it now. How is what you're saying different? You said I don't
Yes,
want it
right.
here,
Masking
but it
is
would be
not
different.
responding as you normally would. For my people, this is how I would respond.
I
If you asked
just
me to do
said
something, I would
I
normally respond.
still do it with my wife. So it was masking when it was for a stranger, but for my wife, it's not. That doesn't make sense.
It makes absolute sense. You're trying to be willfully
Can
obtuse.
somebody please come in the group and explain how that maybe I don't know. Maybe it's two dudes talking and I need a woman's touch to come in and talk because I'm talking to your daddy's son. I'm talking to your daddy's son. I need maybe a woman can come in and explain to me what am I missing? What how is it that she don't necessarily care for the dog, but she's doing it for a person she's dating and she
That's
normally
not
wouldn't do that. But I didn't really care for the date because the
Are we
conversation
listening to Are we listening to what I'm telling you, or are you trying to be willfully dense to prove a point?
I'm not being willfully dense.
Okay,
I'm
so then
asking a
listen
question.
again.
If what
If
I
there was a
did,
situation that came up where a friend needed something from me,
we're not
that
talking
wasn't
about
normally
friends,
on the
Nick.
thing,
We're not talking about friends, Nick.
this person was a friend. I know what you're talking about.
Love, can you please come in and love? Maybe Love can explain it. Because Love,
explain what?
I don't know. She said me, please. Because I
Okay.
said maybe somebody can explain it in a different language. Because usually I'm pretty good about getting what you're saying, but I could have sworn if I claimed to be a good dude, but I was cheating on my ex-girlfriends, and then I got married and I claim to be a good dude, I'm cheating on my wife, it's still cheating. I'm still not a good person. If masking is paying $200 for a stranger, but then paying $300 for your wife,
No, that's
it's
not what
not
I
masking
said.
now?
That's not what I said.
Hold on, Love's in the
I
building.
said at the
Love,
time-
Love, please explain it to me. And what am I missing?
Okay, so we're not talking about the same things. Like, masking is compromising yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you are burning on the inside because you hate what's happening,
Right.
right? But you don't say nothing because this other person is whatever, happy that way, or you just ain't got the guts to say something, or you just keeping the peace, whatever that is.
Right.
Now, what she is doing is not masking. That's compromising.
Okay.
That's saying, okay, this is the situation we're in. Here's our new reality. I don't really like it, but hey, I'm not gonna die, so I'm gonna make it work. And a lot of times you do come around, and you do end up being in a place like now.
Mm-hmm.
We all have seen those videos. My husband that didn't want the dog, now with the dog.
I'll agree 1,010%.
My grandma who didn't want the dog, now with the dog.
I agree.
That's two
So-
different things, and I think that's why y'all are butting
So
heads.
explain my situation. In your opinion, what she's saying was masking for me because maybe I'm missing it. She said because I spent $200 for a chick I was trying to get to know, not trying to flex, not belittling or changing anything about me, but just on the basis of I didn't go into it saying I can't wait to spend $200 a day. That's what it was. Because based on my life experiences, when you go out with somebody, you have a general interest to like them and get to know them, not just get a meal.
That's not.
Hold
the
on,
part that was
wait,
the risky
Nick,
part.
hold
No,
on.
Stop.
I
Stop.
said
No,
when
stop.
you said I was
No, 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 no,
masking
no, no,
because
no,
I was
no.
putting up money like I was trying to impress a chick.
That's
That's
not
what
what
you
I said.
said.
No, that's not. And that's why I knew you're not listening to me. Like something I said triggered you and you're not paying attention. I said if you are
I'm confused.
Okay, I'm going to clarify it. So then listen.
All right.
What I'm not saying that the masking part was you willing to spend the money. What I'm saying is that at some point you weren't in a financial situation to be able to spend that. And you did anyway, which is the masking part. Now you're not in the same financial situation. You're authentically in a position where you can afford it. You just choose not to. That's not masking. That's why I said it's not the same with your wife.
So, but when I went on the first date, it was masking, even though I didn't know I was going to spend the money. Because have I known every girl that I was talking to had a certain requirement of $200, I wouldn't do it. Therefore, I'm thinking I'm being my true authentic self.
Did she tell you this is where I wanted to go and you agreed to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not from the area. Somebody comes down here and say y'all want to go to Steak 48. I'm like, yo, that's a little much. You sure?
Ain't no way
That's why I hit the okay. That's why I hit the okay because I'm not saying that you're mad. Like, here's another thing. I think a lot of times when we think about intentional acts, which masking is an intentional act, again, things are on a gradient. Things are not always just at the extreme.
You said masking is intentional.
Okay. I did.
I'm keeping track. You saying masking is intentional.
Masking is an intentional act, but again, things are on a gradient. I'm not saying that you're masking for the purpose of doing harm to somebody, but I think to a degree you're masking when you do something that you can't afford or that's not in your play cake, which is why like a coffee date or something, like if somebody say, oh, you go here and you spend this type of money, well, I ain't got it like that, but we can go here. That wouldn't be masking. But if you still continue to go on it and that's how it goes, and I think if you're not being true to what you are authentically at that time, and I said, everybody did it. I said, I didn't do it because I chose not to, because I don't like it. I don't want to be fake. And when we talk about masking behavior, that is generally more presented in men than it is in women. Because women don't have to mask. Men want women. Men want the access. It's
True.
not right. So then when we say, well, men mask a lot, and then I say, well, you have these quote unquote good men who will sit in this live right here and act like they understand the plight of women, and then you see them in a totally different live spewing the same red pill ideology. Or you talk to their girls and they do it because it's on a gradient. I said there's a way that men act when men are around, and there's a way that men act when they're not. Masking is one of those things.
Yeah, we're going to agree to disagree, because if you telling me based on what you're saying, I don't understand it. I don't know. Maybe I don't.
Hold on, let me fix the grid real quick. So I don't want to be bigger than everybody.
I don't understand it. Maybe I don't. I don't know. Maybe my testosterone brain won't let me get it, because I'm hearing you went into it trying to pay for something you couldn't afford, but I didn't know I was going into it to pay for something I couldn't afford. And I don't know, for ladies on the guy side, if a woman picks a restaurant in a city that a guy's not familiar with, generally go with the flow. Because again, my expectations at the time was dating from a South Carolina standard. Atlanta changed everything for me. So the way I date in Atlanta, coming from there, it changed dramatically. There was no, well, let's go to Ruth Chris and pop bottles. I don't know you. Who are you? No. I wouldn't do that for you. You're a stranger. Stranger danger. Why would I do that? I learned from that situation. And once I had a homegirl point out and telling me, yo, you are literally feeding chicks because you're the feed guy. I was like, oh, so that's why one girl would be like, let's go to the rooftop. The other girl would be like, let's go to Applebee's. And this girl would be like, let's go to Diamonds and Period. And the other girls would be like, let's just go have a coffee date. I'm trying to figure it out. And at some point, it dawned on me, well, you set the parameters of what it's going to be, and everything else will fall into play. So when I hear, if from my brain, from my man brain, if I'm doing something in yesteryear that I still do today, it has to be the same thing. But if I'm not masking for my wife, because again, going to it with my lady, prior to us getting married, the situation, I knew based on our conversation why I was willing to go with it. So it never bothered me. But when I'm getting nothing in return, when time feels like it's wasted, it's always expensive for me. When time is wasted, I can get money back. Money's easy. It's very easy to come by. But time, that's what makes the whole moment a stale taste. Like, bro, I can never do that again. So again, maybe for me, I'm missing it because I'm looking at it from a standpoint of if you go into it, I'm not the dude at the bar that's pulling out $300,000 in cash. Like, yeah, baby, we're gonna go out. I'm the guy in the Walmart brand polo with the Tommy Hilfiger jeans on from high school because they still fit, and the what you call them, the cheese and crackers, the swap meet Timberlands on, not pretending like shit, basic, because that's me. My father taught me a long time ago, clothes don't make the man, man make the clothes. So I don't need to buy expensive stuff. I just make it look good. So if my appearance is not to put off anything, because that's what I identify masking as. If you with the diamond necklaces, the watches, and yeah, baby, I got it. Go and get what you want. Go and do what you want. Let's go out. Let's do this, and that. That's my brain of masking. If I say, hey, let's go out, meet up sometime, and we meet up at a spot I don't know, and it just so happened to be priced crazy, like, damn. All right, well, the conversation.
Everything you explained just now, that's all persona. Oh, hello, host. Hello, panel. Hello, everybody in the chat. Everything you just explained, that's all persona. Let me
That's
give you
not
a
masking.
let me give you a better example of masking.
Okay.
Masking is generally you're an Eeyore. You're mostly in a depressive state. You're not happy-go-lucky, whatever. Okay. You meet somebody who is happy-go-lucky, always happy, or whatever. Immediately, you make the switch to be like that person, to keep up with them, because you like them that much. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You follow me?
Yeah.
That's masking, because you're not being your authentic self. Generally, you're this Eeyore, this depressive person, this person that always sees the negative.
Mm-hmm.
But because you want to gain favor and get to this person, you're upbeat, but you can't keep it up. That's masking.
Right.
Just wanted to put that in there.
Question.
I have another example.
You said you can't keep it up. Question.
Mm-hmm.
You said if this person is usually happy-go-lucky,
Mm-hmm.
do you think if I met the young lady talking about $300-$400 dinners, do you think I still would have went? Because you said happy-go-lucky.
Probably not, because typically when you talk about money,
right,
it turns people off automatically,
right,
whether it's male or female.
So I went into dates with expectations of relationships, not sexual relationships, just relationships that can build or cannot build to see what is and what wouldn't be. So if I went into it with general interest, somehow when the bill comes, because again, women expect the guy to pay the first bill because they don't reach for it. Guys pays the first bill. If I pay the first bill and decide the conversation wasn't worth the meal, so I pay it and we leave, that's still masking. Love you. But that's what Nick said. She said I was masking because I was paying for. I was paying for. You said I was paying for dates I couldn't afford.
That you were masking because initially we thought that you knew the restaurant was outside.
No, I'm not.
Right.
That's why the Atlanta conversation was I didn't know. Right. When Nick is talking about when I said I wasn't spending money. I wasn't spending money to impress women from fine dining and date. The dumbest thing I did was buy a car I couldn't afford.
Yeah, you're attaching to the money part of it.
Right.
The masking is the actual going to a restaurant that you know that you can't afford to go to.
So if you don't know, you can't afford.
That you normally do.
No.
You would be masking. We're not saying that you're masking.
No, she said I was masking. That's why we got in this conversation.
The restaurant was expensive.
No.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
explained that, she then said, that's not masculine.
Right.
So
She
that's
didn't
you
say that
went
part.
down
I be
this
clearing
rabbit
stuff
hole.
up. He
She
swearing
didn't
it
say
down.
that
I don't
part.
say
She
it.
didn't say that part. I'm
I
gonna
didn't.
play.
Yes, she did.
I'm gonna play
Yes,
this
I
part. I'm gonna
did.
play this back, and when I play
He
this
swear
back,
to God,
I promise
I'm
you.
like, okay, well,
I
no,
promise you, Nick
no,
didn't
you
say
didn't.
it.
I promise you, I did.
Yeah.
Again, this is. I
And
tell
then
you,
was
this
like, oh, can somebody explain? And that's how I got here.
Right.
I literally
I
said.
think.
He had
I
already
So
think
let me
said
let me
you
re-ask.
like to
Hold
push
on,
her
hold
buttons.
on. Let me re-ask the
He
question.
do like to push my.
Let me
Listen, he
re-ask
do
the
like to push
question.
my- but no,
Let me
fuck
re-ask the
that.
question.
He do like
So
to push
based
my
on the
buttons.
information that you have now, was I masking?
No.
That's not masculine.
Okay, round of applause. Thank you, ladies. You're beautiful. You're
Again,
amazing.
so let's
You're
go back to
gorgeous.
the point that
Oh,
we-
whoa, I gotta keep that going. I gotta keep it going.
Let's
Because
go.
that's just
You see?
Matt, stop doing that while I'm trying to talk. Again, the original point is that you have men who share red pill ideologies
Mhm.
who will go and they will act and mask like this.
Right.
Agreed.
And you'll be that got caught up.
Agreed.
And it's harmful. That's what we were initially talking about. The fact that red pill ideology is harmful and it's on a gradient. It's not extreme like you got to cook, clean, and do all that. No.
So
They will mask to have access.
right.
And
So
by the time the mask comes off, you are now in a harmful situation.
because women don't have that, they don't have to mask. Your words. Because they don't have to. What makes you give access when you got all the time and power? If you don't have to, what do you mean?
A shapeshifter fools you, and then you say the woman is stupid for being fooled.
How
by
do you
a
get
shapeshifter.
fooled? You got nothing but time to get to know people.
Because they're honey, people can keep masks on for quite some time.
They can, but it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Again, you have people who kept masks on for years.
So women's intuition don't exist?
The intuition only kicks in when something changes.
That's not intuition.
It literally is a physical symptom in your gut that tells you something is off. If the
It's
man
like
has
spidey
consistent
senses.
behavior, if the man is consistently masking and they can hold it for years, the only time the intuition kicks in is when they start to take the mask off. By then, you're years in. This is not new. You have millions of cases like this.
I'm
You
not
have
saying
tons
you
of
don't.
cases like this.
I'm not saying you don't. I'm merely asking. Because if you're saying that men are masking and women are the ones that get finessed, from where I'm sitting, from where I understand, and from the people I know and the experiences they have, it boils down to them choosing to be a part of the finesse. Because when I hear somebody say, he had the mask on, it's never been the mask of years. It's a couple months. That one time when he yelled at you a little too aggressive, it was that, oh, well, maybe it was just, he just had a moment. No, that should be a red flag. Hey,
Right.
that should be a thing. That should be a bell going off.
No, I literally did a video about
I can
this.
agree with that.
I said, when you first met that man, because this is the argument, like y'all chose him, right? You chose. It's the argument, right?
It comes back to choice. It comes back to
Right,
choice.
comes back to choice. So when you first met that man, he was Shamar Moore from Diary of a Mad Black Woman. He was doing all the right things, saying all the right things, acting all the right ways, right?
Without the wig.
Without because everybody comes with they set of problems. So the only diabolical thing about him was the hair. Okay, the wig was the only diabolical thing, and we can fix that hair. Okay,
Right.
fix
We can work with that.
because nobody's perfect. Everybody's gonna come with a flaw. Shamar's was that wig. Okay. Then after time has gone by, and you've grown to fall in love with the Shamar Moore, they shapeshift into Charles McCarter. Now all of a sudden, they're Charles McCarter, and you done fell in love with the Shamar Moore, but they shapeshift. I think that sometimes when men think women make a choice, the dude come up to you and say, "Listen, for the first 6 months, I'm gonna treat you real nice.
Mhm.
And then, for the first 6 months, I'm gonna treat you real good. I'm gonna do everything you want a man to do. But once I got my hooks into you,
Mhm.
I'm gonna knock your head between the washer and dryer, give you 3 outside babies and 2 STIs. You
Mhm.
game?"
And I'm going to walk
women
on your
like-
back every chance I get.
And women go, that's me. Now, you do have some women that are ridiculous enough to believe they're the exception.
Right.
We can talk about those, like the little old chick with the young dude. that got pregnant by the young dude.
The one that brought her son to her boyfriend's basketball game, and they're both the
Right,
same
like
age.
I'm
you
a stick
think,
beside him.
right? I'm a stick beside him. Listen. No, that's what happens. And people think that's how women's intuition. Like they show something. You have good maskers out here.
Mm-hmm.
Really good maskers.
Mm.
And I think that goes back into the fact that men don't like women.
Mm.
Men don't like men want access. Just like
So why
Just
not
like
after
we-
getting access? Why don't they leave?
because they want to keep access. They want to keep access. That's what it is.
Yo, it's funny to hear. It's funny to
It's
hear
like
from
a
a woman
lifetime
what a man
membership.
wants. That's hilarious.
Like
That is
No, it's not
hilarious.
membership.
That's
It's not
that's
from what-
so funny.
I think if I sit back and I have conversations with multiple men, so you're not talking to a woman that doesn't speak to men,
Mhm.
and you're talking to a woman that literally talks to. I've talked to thousands of men on this app. I've
Mhm.
listened to conversations of thousands of men on this app.
Mhm.
Thousands.
There's millions in the world, billions even.
There's been, thousands.
So
is
your
enough of a
thousands
sample
is
size.
like that though, because when I say
Uh-huh,
I
but
talk to people
thousands-
based on my experiences and the people that I know, you say
Thousands
the
is a
world
big
is
enough
bigger than what you know, Mac. It's bigger than your air. It's bigger.
Everybody
The
wants
world
to
is
say
bigger
the
than
world
your
is bigger.
TikTok.
Listen, everybody wants to say that the world is bigger, and yet you can have a big enough sample size.
But
Because-
but my sample sizes ain't never big enough because whenever
No,
I
I
give you
never
thoughts
said
and
you
views and
said-
perspectives of mine, you say it's
I
not
never
big
said your
enough.
sample size was- I never said your sample size wasn't big enough.
I can't wait to play this shit back, Nick. I
can't
cannot
wait to play it
goddamn
back.
wait. Boy, oh my
I
God.
can't wait
Sweet
to play it
Jesus.
back.
I cannot wait.
This is gonna
What
be
you
hilarious.
think? You swear up and down. You be using you individualize it not when we're talking about a grand concept. That is a thing that a lot of men do. When you individualize a lot when we talk about a bigger concept.
Are we not talking about a bigger concept now?
I'm talking about my experiences too.
So we're allowed to talk about our experiences and it be a big enough size to speak for the masses.
If my experience is a big enough size, yes. If I said I've listened to thousands of conversations and talked to thousands of men, you mean to tell me your 4 or 5 conversations is equal to that?
No. But
Okay,
I've talked to
then.
thousands of people too.
Okay, my thing is that when women are trying to tell you what the fuck is going on, y'all be so dismissive. Why are you dismissing what I'm saying?
I'm merely asking why is it good for
Okay.
you and not good for me? What's good for the goose? Why it
that's
ain't
not
good
what
for the
you're asking.
gander?
You're being dismissive because what I'm telling you is that there is a way that men treat women when men are not around.
Time
You
out.
can
Somebody's
only base-
echoing. I don't know who's one of the people from the lives. It's been echoing for like 2 minutes. Y'all might have to mute yourselves.
Mute yourselves real quick.
Go ahead.
Bistro can go.
There you go. It's gone.
What I'm saying is that based upon how men have dealt with me, based upon what I hear men say, based upon how men act, I'm not trying to tell you what men want. I'm trying to tell you what they've done. Men would love access to women for what they can give them too, just like men say women do. Men want access to women's resources just like women want access to men's resources. Everybody is in it to be used for a
Resources.
reason.
Women got resources.
Yes. Women
What
have
resources do men want from women? Out of curiosity.
money,
Money,
time, attention.
time,
Mhm.
Men want time and attention from women. And this is what
Yeah.
thousands of men told you.
This is what thousands of men say. Yes.
Being a man and growing up with men and being around thousands of men, those don't even crack the top 5. But
They
your
don't crack the
experiences,
top 5
your
for
story,
you.
go ahead. No.
They
From the
don't crack the top
thousands
5 for
of
you.
men that I've talked to.
Again, listen,
From the thousands of men
again,
I've talked to, and being a man, so I have a little bit more know on the subject than you do.
you
I'm
don't.
just saying it don't crack it. I know you're your
You
daddy's
don't.
son. I know you're your daddy's son, but you got to
No,
let that go
you
right
don't.
now.
No, you don't. Because you don't know what it's like to date men. How would you know better how men act when they date you than a woman.
Well, you said you talked to them. Did you date thousands of men, or did you talk to thousands of men?
Or am I losing it here, or is he being very Virgo right now? You know,
He's
it's
very
You
Virgo.
said
He's
you
being very
talked
Virgo
to
right now.
thousands
He's
of
being
men.
such a Virgo
You
right
didn't
now.
say
You're
you.
willfully
You
trying
talk.
to
See what I
miss the point,
mean?
and
How
I'm not gonna let you do it.
how come you say you can
Again,
talk to
you
thousands of
don't
men,
know
but when
what
I
it's
talk to
like to
thousands of
date
men, and I
men.
tell you it don't
You
crack the
don't
top
know what
five,
it's like to
but you
date
say you
men.
talk to thousands of
You
men,
are
and you
not
didn't
the
date
expert
thousands of
on
men.
what it's like to date men.
Did
Me
You're
and
you
not.
Love
date
gonna let y'all have
thousands?
this one.
You're not.
Did you date
You're
thousands?
not.
Did you date thousands? Yes or no?
It doesn't matter.
Did you
You are
date
not
thousands?
in this conversation right
I'm
here. When
asking
it
a
comes between
simple
you and me,
question.
the simple answer is when it comes to this conversation right here and how men relate to women when they date, you are not the expert because you don't feel the
I didn't say I was the
affection.
expert
You
on. I
don't
didn't
date
say
men.
on
So
dating
you don't
men.
know.
I said based on what
You
men want.
don't
You
know.
said resources. From what I tell you, from what men want, everything you just said, money and all that other
Money?
shit, that shit don't crack the top three.
Homosexuals are not a thing. Wait a minute.
I said it didn't
Homosexuals
crack
are
the
not
top
a thing.
three.
No. Homosexuals are not a thing. Sex in a woman is not a thing. Somebody to cook, clean, and have their kids is not a thing. Are you serious right now? Is
Okay,
everything
Matt, I have a question.
Exactly.
So you
Stop.
say that you dated only to find the end game, you're a wife, right?
Right.
So what are the top three resources then? What were you looking for?
What I was looking for from a woman for me was emotional support.
Resource.
Yeah, but this is my top three, not the thousands. I'm a little bit more mature than they are.
No. They want somebody to
You
be
ain't
there.
mix up Mel.
You
You
my
ain't mix
peace.
Mm.
Emotional support. Keep going.
Emotional support, someone to talk to and like have bounce ideas off of, and just someone who is naturally caring and kind, because I'm not.
Okay.
When I'm looking for intentions, I'm looking for what I saw in my mother.
Emotional support, attention, emotional support, resource for nurturing. They want somebody caring, so they want time, they want attention, they want your body. Is that not what I said?
I said based on the men I talk to. That's not what they said.
And I said based on the fact that I date men and you don't.
But you're saying, of course, men are gonna. Didn't you just say men put on a mask? Didn't the man put on a mask and tell you, "Hey, thick Nick, I want your time and your attention. I want to make you feel like a beautiful woman. Your body is the least of my concerns. It's not even. It's not even important."
I literally said that was the top three. I said they want your body, they want your money, they want your time, they want your attention, they want you to care.
And based on the guys that I talked to, when they said they wanted, money wasn't on it. It was pussy and more pussy.
Okay, so she missed one. She missed one.
50-50 ain't
Now
much.
50-50 is money.
Shut up. Shut up.
50-50 is money.
50-50 is money.
No.
That is a resource.
Again, the men I talk to, these men I talk to ain't 50-50 kind of men. These men I talk to is grown men. And most of the grown men that had their wives and their kids is grown and gone, all they want is pussy. And then the older ones in that, they'll be the ones be like, yeah, I just want to have somebody around, occasionally come by the house every so often. You know what I'm saying? But I need my own space. I need this, I need that. Because once you've learned and you've done that, all that shit that the younger 1,000 that Nick is talking about that she's dated, that shit don't matter.
I wish it was the younger 1,000. These are 40-year-old men talking this trash.
No shit.
Younger.
40-year-old. Okay. And here's another thing.
40, 55, 60-year-old men.
There was a 55-year-old man that sat in a live, and this is very common, and said, I don't care nothing about what I could do for that woman. I just want her to do for me. And you say, well, what they want you to do? Well, I just need somebody to be my peace and nurturing and emotional support. I want her to have sex with me whenever and cook a good meal and all. These are not young men. Who are the uncles teaching the young man the thing? It's not just young men. And
You're learning
again,
it somewhere.
men are going to say something around you they're not going to say around us. And vice versa.
Oh, you mean the masking men?
No, I mean men.
they're masking because they don't mask for you. They mask for they mask for other men because they tell you the real things, and then when they get around their boys,
they tell you the fake things.
that's what I said. They're masking for us. Didn't I just say that?
Again,
I just said that. I'm gonna rewind it so you can hear. Hold on, 1 hour and 49 minutes and 17 seconds. I just said they tell you the real, but they mask for us. I just said that. Are you being so dense that you're trying to be argumentative?
You're trying to be argumentative.
I'm not. I'm asking a question.
You're trying to be okay. Yes, you, Mac.
I'm gonna get some
my
popcorn.
face one more again on this live. Okay. What I'm saying is that when it comes to the nature of how men relate to women, men are not going to have the inside cap on it. I don't care how much of a man you are, because you may be the type of man to do that. And I hate to say it, but men like you're the outlier. You're not the norm.
Come on.
And I'm gonna tell you how I know you're the outlier. Because not once have you ever said, I'm different. They all say, I'm not like them. I'm different. I'm not like them. If all of you are the fucking exception, no one's the exception. If all of you are the exception.
So maybe the thousands of men that I talk to are the thousands of exceptions.
No, you haven't talked to thousands of exceptions.
How do you know? If I can't say you've talked to thousands of men that claim that they want the things that you say, you can't say that I haven't talked to 1,000 exceptions.
You talked to 1,000 exceptions.
Based on my lifetime and based on where I grew up, the thousands of men that I've talked to, at least a cool 1,200 of them are the exception.
Okay, I need you to have yourself a nice little man's conference and invite those 1,200.
First off, they all big boys. Now listen, they all big boys. Some of them have moved away.
Did you say they're all big boys?
They all big boys because I don't talk to skinny dudes.
I'm waiting for the negative.
They all big boys. They all. Some of them are married. Some of them are.
No, don't bring the married ones. Don't bring the married ones.
Not to the conference.
You just tell them to come. You don't even come. You're married. No, don't bring the married ones.
You want me to put together a conference I can't come to?
Listen,
you just host.
I mean, you can host it
or something, but like technically, you know, if you gonna do if you're gonna do the big boy slut out conference, you can't be a part of it because I'm not bringing
exceptions to be with the rules. No, I need exceptions to be with the exceptions.
And I feel that, and I agree.
Look at that. We agree on something. Hey. It only took an hour and 51 minutes. We agree on something.
I'm going to pour water down that soundboard.
It's all right. We agreed on something. Look at God. Want to use you? Let him use you.
I agree. I agree with that. I don't think you should bring a bunch of exceptions to be dealing with rules. I don't think you should bring a bunch of non-problems to problematic people. I don't believe you should be a problematic person. I don't believe you should be a problematic person. A lot of these things would not even be an issue if people chose to not be problematic.
So people do make choices.
Shut up, Mac.
Are they black and white when they make the choices?
Some are. Some are and some aren't.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Some are and some aren't.
All right. All right. Glad to hear that.
Yeah. Like I said in the beginning, I've said that already.
Oh, okay. I hear you. Well, I believe we might have just had our first successful TikTok podcast. Hey, so listen, because I'm not going to keep yelling in my house and run the risk of waking up my daughter. So, Thick Nick Jack, you got anything you want to say before we peace out? I know I got you hot and bothered.
I'm just hot.
Okay.
It's just hot.
I have that effect on women, so you know.
Shut up.
Anything you want to say to the people?
I want to say that I welcome these type of conversations. These are hard conversations. I want everybody to know that this is not indicative of how we feel about each other as personal people. This is just how healthy debate conversations go amongst friends. So just know that me and Mac are good. Don't come in here like, are y'all not going to be friends? Me and Mac had these conversations all the time. This is how it goes. I also want to say that just try to have a good day on purpose. Ooh. Try to be the best version of yourself that you can be. Okay. Never stop growing, never stop evolving, and Fear ain't living. So if you're scared of change, that ain't living.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. All right, people. I want to thank y'all for, again, tuning into the Heavy Thoughts podcast, the heavy-hearted edition where people talk about things that they're passionate about. I want to thank again my co-host, Thick Nick Jack, for coming through, showing love for the boy. And with job schedules permitted, we will do this again and have another one out for you next week. So, hey, man, if you ever want to have any conversations, anything you want to talk about, feel free to hit me up, heavymac@outlook.com, HEAVYMACK @outlook.com, or you could DM Thick Nick Jack on TikTok or Instagram or wherever other platforms she may be on.
NickJack79@gmail.com.
NickJack79, because the 6 was too nasty. All right, y'all. Love, peace, and hair grease. And once again, thank you for being a part of the Heavy Thoughts podcast, Heavy Hearted edition. I'm going to try to have this out by Friday, February 28th. Love, peace, and hair grease. I'll see y'all next time.
It's heavy. It's heavy. It's heavy, baby.
Peace.